compassion and virtue as basis of Dhamma. So I've already said a lot about this during meditation, that it's very important to look at this from deeper perspective, which is like deep meditation or depth perspective, because as I said, imagine that when you feel all this cloud of relaxed sensations, this inner silence, when slowly it feels like you're like dissolving a bit your feeling of reality, then it feels like you are like living reality in a way. And this is very important, because I think this is what the path is about. There is a place that slowly transcends reality as we know it. In Buddhism, we have these various bhumis or lokas, various worlds or spheres of existence. First is kamaloka, which is sensual sphere of existence. Then there is rupaloka, like luminous form sphere of existence. Then there is arupaloka, which is formless sphere of existence. And then there is sanya vedaita nirodha, which is cessation of perception and feeling. So let's say, in general, Buddha and also Ajahn Brahm, when they speak about reality, they speak about gradual cessation. So with cessation of sensual sphere of reality, there remains luminous forms. With cessation of luminous forms, there is formless reality. And with cessation of formless, there is cessation of all feeling and perception. And there are many suttas in which the Buddha is saying that deeper the cessation, the less suffering, the more happiness in a way. Of course, happiness is understood differently on various levels of reality, but in general, Buddha said Nibbanang Paranang Sukham, which means Nibbana is the highest bliss. So gradual cessation towards deeper non-suffering, so towards deeper happiness in a way, deeper freedom. There is a sutta, Paharada Sutta, and 8.20, I think, where there is said, just as the sea has one taste, the taste of salt, this Dhamma and Vinaya, which is this practice and training, has, this teaching and training has one taste, the taste of freedom. So the freedom is the highest happiness. Anyway, what is important is that gradual cessation means gradual deepening of happiness. So when we dissolve in meditation, slowly, we are opening to different realms of existence. And when we touch that the first times, it feels very shocking, because it feels familiar in a way, and it's like coming back home. And it's very beautiful and blissful. So what is important is to realize that we are opening up slowly our hearts to go there, to deepen this cessation process. And of course, it's probably very possible that at death, this is what happens, that slowly we are forced to dissolve in a way, like we have to abandon this body. And even classical Buddhist interpretation, even based on the suttas, like early Buddhist interpretation, is that there is so-called antarabhava, which is life between lives. And it's possible to get liberated also at this point. So also, I think it's called paraloka in suttas, which is the world beyond. So there is clearly the beyond. And this beyond is this realm of death, this realm of meditation, this realm of higher states of consciousness. So we're slowly going there. And it's important because we have to realize that this world is impermanent. So all our relationships, all our possessions, our body, this even existence on this planet, actually, even existence in this realm, in this cosmos, is impermanent. And when we start to realize that pretty much mind is present all the time, and mind is absolutely more profound than this world. As we know, mind is always operating. Actually, this world operates within the mind, and with the change of consciousness, when we get to a higher state of consciousness, this whole world can disappear for a while. So this is how we know that there is something beyond death. There is something that we can escape in a way from this world. And this is very important. And another thing which I was saying also in the lecture about meditation and during meditation is that this world has no substantial reality. In fact, all existence have no substantial reality. What does it mean? It means that it's just transient phenomena. So it doesn't have like substance in philosophical terms. It's something that is permanent. There is no substance. There is only changing sensations, changing experience that doesn't have ultimate existence. And this is important because if this world had ultimate existence, then it would be sort of crap to just leave it behind in a way, right? But it doesn't have this ultimate existence. So this world its nature is to dissolve at some point, right? Anicca sankara upadavaya dhammina upajitvani rojanti tesanvapasamasoko. Everything that has arisen must cease. Its cessation is bliss. So this is, by the way, sung at the Buddhist funerals. So this world is in a way impermanent. So we don't have to feel bad when it's dissolving because it's its nature. That's why slowly we want to leave this world in a way. And this is what Ajahn Sona is saying when most problems on the path are not solved, they are dissolved. So, for example, now we have a political upheaval in the world. So I don't say that no one should take any action, but in general, I think it's wise to just stay peaceful and do good around yourself and stay peaceful and calm and equanimous and just keep practicing in being good to your neighbor, to your friends, to the close ones. It doesn't mean you cannot join the Walk for Peace or to try to take some action, but in general, it doesn't have to be solved. It can be dissolved. So what does it mean it can be dissolved? It means that we don't have to fix the whole world. So, but let's give another example. Let's say, I don't know, your friends from work had an argument. So you might want to solve that, but you can actually dissolve that, which means you just let it be in a way. So you stop thinking about many things. So this is connected to the first lecture about meditation I just gave, but really just stop thinking about many things is very good. As I said, in a way, when we exist, we need to be fed by samsara in a way. In Christianity, it's called the need of the bread. So everyone has need of the bread. And as long as we are existing, as we are craving existence, as long as we are creating existence, which is created constantly by the activity of our mind, then we are in a way burdening existence. So by going toward cessation of existence or sublimation, purification of existence, we are becoming more giving to existence or stop feeding so much on existence. And that's why we are becoming very noble in this way. So, to And to do that, we need to learn how to control our minds. And to control our minds, we need to learn to meditate. We need to learn how to stop thinking, to reduce thinking, or to make our thoughts more wholesome at least. Because as the Buddha said, for example, in this sutta, I think it was AN 3.101 or 102, it's about purification of the gold. This is where the Buddha is saying that no thinking is better than wholesome thinking. So I think he compares good thoughts to like golden dust and no thinking to pure gold. Because no thinking leads to deep states of meditation, deep states of stillness. So, and you dissolve in a way. And it brings us to like different level of reality that we feel like we're coming home, and this level of reality has much less problems than the level we are currently at. So actually, if you want to solve this problem of reality, then it will be much better to make beings come to this place where these problems no longer exist. Because, like I said, this reality, this kamaloka, this earth existence is like a Tetris game. No matter how many times we do it, there are these puzzles going from top to bottom, different shapes, and we need to put them in the right places. It's constant effort to make a good line, so it erases for a while. You have some peace when you do some work, but it's going always new things, always new things. We solve one thing, another thing comes. So, yeah, and sometimes there are these puzzles that are really like not fitting, and then they create so much trouble, like these big problems in life. And there is constant danger of losing the game, which is like having some serious trouble. And the truth is about this reality that as long as we are unenlightened, then there is no way to solve this. Like, you cannot win this game. There are always more puzzles going. That's why solving problems is okay for a while. It doesn't mean we don't solve some problems. Of course we do. But we have to understand that solving problems will not solve them permanently. And to solve them permanently, we need to like quit the game. We need to stop playing the Tetris. And it's like in deeper levels of reality, there is less Tetris. Like every deeper level of heaven until parinibbana is less Tetris. There is more safety and more pureness, more like purity, loving kindness, compassion, calm, serenity, freedom. So we really want to go there. And so this is Dhamma. Dhamma is the practice and the teaching and the path of slowly going deeper into this heavenly existence and into cessation of samsara. So, yeah. So many problems are not to be solved, they are to be dissolved. And this will be important. You might think, wow, how does it relate to compassion and virtue? Well, actually a lot. Because in order to be compassionate and virtuous, you need to take root into something profound that will allow you to be good towards all beings, which is extremely hard. Why? Well, because beings are defiled. Humans, animals, and all beings we share this planet with are full of defilements, more or less. And if we think worldly, like when worldly thinking is the thinking of justice and of deserving. So, for example, we feel that someone has to deserve something. Like, this person needs to deserve happiness. This person needs to deserve freedom from suffering. Or it's unjust to make happy someone who made others suffer and stuff like that. So worldly thinking makes us, it's very difficult to be like very good. Because what does it mean to be very good? Well, to be very good means to be trying to make happy and to release from suffering everyone. So by definition, it cannot be just in a way, because everyone deserves to be happy in a way. Why? Because everyone is just conditioned. So let's say Donald Trump, who I think is a good example of greed, hatred, and delusion, walking around. So, but he's just conditioned in this way, and we don't want to wish him bad. Like, I don't wish Donald Trump to go to hell or to suffer or to have a headache, whatever. All I would like is for him to stop harming others and be happy. And how to do that? Well, it's not that easy from thinking from a worldly perspective when we start to think about, oh, he's done so much harm, like so many people suffer because of him. Okay, but now, going back to what I was speaking in meditation, let's imagine we are dying or we are in deep meditation, which I think is a similar process. And we dissolve. And I think that when we get there, it's like mind becomes like a mirror, even more than in normal reality. It's always a mirror, but even more so, because we feel. When we feel, let's say, anger, then this space is not blissful. But when we feel compassion or loving kindness or serenity, this place becomes very blissful. And it's very immediate. The moment you feel this peace, the moment you've experienced the peace. And this is even in the Suttas, where one monk was like asked, why should I follow the Dhamma and lose sensual pleasures when Dhamma works over time and sensual pleasures give immediate pleasure? But the monk countered it that actually it's the sensual pleasures that are in the future, but the Dhamma is immediate. Because the moment you're peaceful, you're peaceful. And it's much more simple, easy. It's much more easy to see in deeper meditation, because when you are dissolved in this cloud of relaxed sensations, in this energetic experience, you immediately feel like on a sensation level the feelings of your mind, of your heart. So when you feel that, then that when you feel compassion and forgiveness, then you are blissful. When you feel anger and like resentment, that feeling that someone has hurt you and they don't deserve happiness, then you're miserable. And so deeper meditation is just showing us more immediate, in a more immediate way, the truth of the mind. And another part of this is that when we die, when we dissolve in deeper meditation, then we are letting go of this world. No matter if you're deep meditating or dying, you have to let go of this world to some degree. At least you have to let go of the body, you have to let go of slowly of all the connections, all your possessions. So you quit it anyway. So why do you care so much about who has more power or which country is winning or, It doesn't matter. Like, all that matters is that may beings be happy, may beings be peaceful, because ultimately we can divide every living being to two parts, consciousness and conditions. Of course, consciousness is also conditioned, but this is like a simplification, because consciousness experiences pleasant, painful, and neutral sensations. And so, I don't know which Ajahn said that. I think Ajahn Sona. Yeah, he said that the most important question is how do you feel? And and he also said that when you're dead, this body doesn't care. Like, let's say we'll be lying down dead here, a corpse. You can chop it with the sword, like chop its head off, like, I don't know, massacre it with something. It doesn't care because it doesn't feel anymore. The problem is consciousness. When you're conscious and someone would cut you, you would be terrible, feel terrible. Because it's the consciousness that feels the pain, ultimately. What body without consciousness is just a dead log. So, it's consciousness that is the problem. Is the problem. So we want consciousness to be free from suffering. And consciousness can be conscious of so many things, like I'm conscious and Donald Trump is conscious and Ajahn Brahm is conscious. So Ajahn Brahm, consciousness, let's say he's in jhana and he's, oh, super bliss, happiness, yeah. And let's say Donald Trump is conscious of something. Let's say he's angry that, oh, I don't have Greenland. Oh. So this is his consciousness. And we can divide it. This is just consciousness which experience pleasant sensation or unpleasant sensation. And in a way, both are conditioned. So we can have compassion for Donald Trump, that pure guy is unhappy. Right? And this is how you develop compassion. Oh, pure Donald Trump, may he be happy. May he be liberated from suffering. Because by the nature, if someone really wants to be liberated from suffering, then they have to be good. Because, of course, we might have problems of wishing Donald Trump to have sensual pleasure and stuff like that, but it's all unsatisfactory anyway. All sensual pleasures doesn't lead to release from suffering, to be fully released from suffering. So impermanent pleasure doesn't solve the issue. In order to be released from suffering, you have to be very good. So the more bad someone is, the more compassion than they deserve, actually. So from this perspective, it's like, because we are so attached, like normal people are so attached to this world, like this earth, this body, this me in this life. But this is completely impermanent. Like in 100 years, no one of us will be us anymore. So we will be someone else in different life, or maybe if someone reaches parinibbana, then they will be gone. But maybe we won't be reborn on this planet anymore. So does it matter so much what is done in this world? Like if, I don't know, if the biggest country in the world is China or USA, like, yeah. Well, maybe it does matter for well-being if we say that some country has better influence or something, but yeah, it doesn't really matter so much for us from this ultimate perspective. So, but what matters is, yeah, will we get liberated from suffering? Will more beings get liberated? Will world will be in the better state in a way? That matters in a way. So, yeah, so we want to move in that direction. Really want to connect with that. Like, I really invite you all to imagine that what we were doing in meditation, that you're dissolving, you open up to this divine reality, because hopefully you are slowly getting there. We all are. And that we will all leave this behind. All this suffering will be left behind slowly. So really, from this perspective, do not wish anyone any harm. Like even your nemesis, someone who has hurt you most in your life. Like, why would you wish this person harm if you are going to dissolve in happiness anyway? This is only impermanent difficulty on the path, which is, by the way, just your karma. So there is no point. And really, when you are dissolving and when you are practicing Dhamma, believe me or not, but believe me, that you will be dissolving more and more. Like maybe even every day you will touch at least a little bit this reality where you will feel like you are disappearing. And yeah, why would I have ill will against anyone? And you can find that in the suttas. When you will read the suttas, all suttas speak about non-ill will, non-ill will, non-anger. What is the second part of the Noble Eightfold Path? Right intention, which is no anger, no harm, renunciation. No anger, no harm is the two aspects. And Buddha specifically said no harm, no anger, because anger is mental. He said you cannot even have angry thoughts about others, not just speaking bad or harming someone physically, taking some action to harm someone, but not even thinking, not even wishing to harm anyone. And this is so important. Why? Because if you have angry thoughts and you dissolve and you think these angry thoughts, then goodbye heaven. You are no longer in heaven. So we have to purify to the point. The first step is to at least understand that when you're dissolving, You really wish everyone happy. Like, let's say any of us would die right now, that you leave this world anyway, and you feel, may all beings be happy and free from suffering. No matter what they did to me, may all beings be happy. Right? Because what do you care? Like, you let go of all this hurt from the past. You dissolve anyway. It will all be forgotten without reminder. You just wish them well. May they be liberated. It's just tangle of conditions constantly creating war and problems. So you quit that. You forgive. And this is why also in Christianity it's so important that this religion speaks so much about forgiveness, that you have to, before you, like, I don't know, do some sacred thing, go and make peace with your brother and sister. This is like from the Bible, I think. And I say it specifically, I use this quote from the Bible because it's like the culture we raised in. And the Buddhist Suttas say, if you see that it's in all Suttas. Pretty much all Suttas say about letting go of ill will towards everyone. And letting go of ill will is pretty much a synonym of forgiveness. So you let go of ill will. Right? And this is, from this perspective, you really start to understand the teachings of Ajahn Brahm. Because he says so much about this, like, it doesn't matter who there is, always care for them. No matter who is on the other side. What is the most important moment? This moment. Who is the most important person? The person you're with right now. What is the most important thing to do? To care. So, to be good, to want to help, to be supportive, to care. He also says that it's about loving kindness and not justice. Ajahn Brahm speaks about it in so many talks, because justice is like, maybe, you said something wrong to me, so I will say something wrong to you, This is like a classic. Like, someone has hurt me, so I will hurt them. Someone has insulted me, so I will insult him. Someone has made problems for me, so I will make problems for him. This is like natural human condition. And it feels crazy in a way to don't do that. Like, why should I be kind to person who has been unkind to me? Do I want to, I don't know, get his thanks or forgiveness or whatever? And that's what I was saying in the meditation, that we have to turn our eyes to the Dhamma. And that's Buddha said, let the Dhamma be your island, your refuge with no other refuge. This is the only refuge, the only sanctuary. We have to see the Dhamma. And when we see the Dhamma, we do it for the Dhamma. And this is also where Christianity is so helpful to explain the Dhamma. Because in Christianity, there are these teachings that, in general, the most important thing is to love God and to feel His presence everywhere and to do things for God. And also, this Chris Reese, this Christian YouTuber, always says that don't be a people pleaser, be a God pleaser. So what does it mean? What does it mean to be a people pleaser and God pleaser or Dhamma pleaser? So when you are a people pleaser, let's say someone is, I don't know, there are so many examples, but let's say there is some conflict between people and you can get something out of it if you act in an unwholesome way. Let's say if you lie or if you devise people, then maybe you can gain something in a worldly way. Like politicians do it all the time, right? They, for example, make some lies and divide people to win elections. Like Donald Trump is, again, the perfect example of how not to be. Like, he's the perfect example of how not to live in line with the Dhamma, right? So let's say there were some lies and manipulations to get to where he is. But he is a people pleaser, actually, because he wants to please his people who vote for him, so he gains something from that. But if you were a God pleaser or Dhamma pleaser, what is the Dhamma? It's the virtues. And this is where, well, all religions come together, because I think, this is my view, that all religions, the great religions, teach virtue. Of course, there are different angles, different metaphysical systems, different depth of understanding, perhaps, but the virtue is common. And what is virtues? What are virtues? For example, truth, goodness, compassion, temperance, equanimity, things like that. Generosity, love, true love, spiritual love, calm, serenity. These are all virtues. And virtues are like, let's say, certain, on the one hand, virtue is an aspect of character, and on the other hand, virtue is like an abstract idea that is embodiment of something very wholesome. And actually, virtues can be experienced, I think. And I think samadhi, like jhana, is that all virtues come together. And actually, if you really go deep into any virtue, it contains all other virtues, in my opinion. So, for example, if you go to the deepest truth, the deepest truth is also loving kindness, it's also compassion, it's also serenity. If you go really deep into serenity, into calm, it's also love, it's also compassion, it's also truth. If you go really deep into love, it's also truth, it's also calm, it's also freedom. So all virtues come together. And this is what Socrates was saying, that eudaimonia, which is the true happiness, is the state that is realized by cultivating virtue. And Buddhism and Christianity follows the same pattern, that virtue is essential. Yeah, so in order to please Dhamma, or to please God, however you understand it, you have to cultivate virtues. Because from how I understand these things, it doesn't matter what we call it, but I believe this divine thing, this divine highest principle of nature, let's call it, is virtues themselves. So, from my perspective, that's, for example, it's controversial for some that I speak about Christianity in Buddhist talks, but actually, there is some things that I really don't like about Christianity, especially Catholicism, and this is that they think that only their God is the real God, that that the God is Jesus or something like that. I don't believe that. I think that God, for me, if anything we can call God, is simply the virtues. And I don't say this is the creator of reality or this is some ultimate substantial reality. It's just virtues themselves, like the highest principle of nature. Because I have more like philosophical definition of God. As simply the highest principle of nature, which is the Dhamma itself. Dhamma is nature. So, in this way, like seriously, the God, I mean this philosophical God, it doesn't give a crap if you are Pole or Russian or Ukrainian or your name is Donald or or Piotr. He doesn't care. What he cares is if you tell the truth or not. If you are, let's say, kind or not. And this is the law of karma. This is the law of karma. Because every act or thought that comes from the right intention, from intention of virtue, brings happiness. And every intention and act that comes from vice is the opposite of virtue, leads to suffering. So, if you're a God pleaser or a Dhamma pleaser, then you don't give a crap if, someone judges you or there's something unjust going on in reality, because our mission, our quest, our job is to just stick to the virtues. So, for example, even if we are in a situation where there is a lot of confusion going on or, some problematic things, what we need to do is to just stay with the Dhamma. Don't take revenge. Don't, divide people. Don't try to gain something in the world. Just stick to the Dhamma. And why it's so difficult It's because sometimes we lose things in the world in this way. And this is also what some people think, that if I follow this path, then I will have all worldly happiness. Sometimes it brings worldly happiness, sometimes not. It depends on karma, on many things. But as I said in this lecture on meditation, watching breath doesn't necessarily make you the king of the world or the richest person in the world. But it gives you something else. And we have to really start to feeling this divine presence, which is, I believe we can do it in meditation when we feel this cloud of relaxed sensations, these energy sensations and inner silence. You slowly start perceiving the presence of divine, these wholesome emotions in the heart and feelings. And slowly you start to feeling this divine presence that is simply your own heart being at peace and at compassion and love. And then this is your reward already. And let's say this is just such an example that goes on a political level, on a family level, on some social group level, that people in general fight for various things. They fight for resources, they fight for pleasures, they fight for money, they fight for fame, for many things. And yeah, this is when you go to follow your vices. But if you follow virtue, you don't necessarily win these fights. And sometimes it can be, this test moment when people take something from us. Because often everyone meets aggression in the world. Like, for example, we buy something from a shop that is fake and they just steal our money. And they either send the false product or don't sell anything. They just steal your money. And of course you can, do something about it. But in general, you don't want to harm this person because they harm you. And this is where it gets tricky. Because your natural response would be, they hurt me, so I hurt them. Because they took something from me. But this is a very mild example. But there are so stronger examples. Like sometimes I even was in such situations in the past, in the present. I can remember a situation from my past when some person has absolutely no. I won't be saying the details, but did something that has made my life very difficult. Like, it could be so much easier for absolutely no cost for this person. But this person has chosen to do something that made my life very difficult for many years. And of course, I could be angry at this person. But it's exactly about this. Just forgive, wish good, and accept the loss. Like, no fighting. And this is when you stop care about all this worldly justice. Because from worldly perspective, maybe it was unjust. Maybe what this person did to me was unjust because, why make my life so miserable for no reason? But, it just happened. And the choice is either you are angry and we hold the grudge and we are doing exactly the opposite of what the Buddha asked us to do, or we just let it go and wish them well and really take that to the real world experience. And this is where things get this is connected to what I was speaking in meditation, because the first level is on this dissolution level. When we dissolve, when the mind becomes like a mirror very much, we feel that, I forgive, I wish you well, all the blissful sensations of meditation, great. But the real challenge is to then come back to this world, to normal life, with all this pain, with all these problems, with all this work and difficulties and resources, conflicts and everything, and to do that in this world. So let's say you meet this person and you have opportunity to help them and you do it. Even if this person has harmed you, you help them. Why? Because you don't look at the justice. You don't say, oh, you hurt me, so I hurt you. No, you look at God, at Dhamma. This ultimate this highest principle of nature, for the Dhamma. I am kind to you because this is the Dhamma. This is the teaching of the Buddha. This is true goodness. And the reward will come from the karma, and the reward is itself the present moment when you do that, even if it's difficult. And slowly, we start to see it more and more and more and more, and we think, how could I not see it before? Why all these judgments? Why all this justice, this fighting for things, for, I don't know, attention, fame, being validated, social status, and everything, if we can just, just be good. And it's so liberating. It's so liberating because, why? Because when we expect rewards from people or from this world, then, it's just never-ending suffering. Because people, like Buddha said in Majjhima Nikaya 8, they will be cruel, we will not be cruel. They will lie, we will not lie. They will steal, we will not steal. They will divide, we will not divide. They will, kill, we will not kill. They will harm, we will not harm. They will be angry, we will not be angry. They will be greedy, we will not be greedy. They will be deluded, we will not be deluded. And so they will be. And even if you have some angel in your life, or you are in a monastery, or you have best friends, best partner, best monastery, whatever, but you always will meet other beings that will not be so great. So we will always encounter the Tetris of greed, hatred, and delusion. And if we want to be always validated, always be treated fairly, always be appreciated, always be liked, then it's like never-ending frustration, never-ending fight. And it never ends. And you will never get it. Seriously, we are talking about the people who, some of them, like Devadatta, wanted to kill the Buddha, or people who crucified Jesus. So if such people are in the world, do we think that everyone will be kind to us, normal people with defilements? So stop seeking there is no point in seeking validation from humans. Just seek validation from the Dhamma. Simply by looking if you are living according to the Dhamma. And if you do, this is all we need. This is all validation and attention and love that we really need. And everything, every other is extra. If we have some love in real life, if we have a great partner, if we have a great friend, if we have a great spiritual love, great. This is the bonus. But the main is this. Enough is if you live according with virtues and compassion at all situations, then this is the reward itself. And there's even a sutta, it's called Ananya Sutta, AN 4.62, and this is how it goes. Then the householder Anathapindika went up to the Buddha, bowed, and sat down to one side. The Buddha said to him, "Householder, these 4 kinds of happiness can be earned by a layperson who enjoys sensual pleasures, depending on time and occasion. What for? The happiness of ownership, using wealth, debtlessness, and blamelessness. And what is the happiness of ownership? It's when a gentleman owns legitimate wealth that he has earned by his own efforts and initiative, built up with his own hands, gathered by the sweat of the brow. When he reflects on this, he's filled with pleasure and happiness. This is called the happiness of ownership. And what is the happiness of using wealth? It's when a gentleman uses his legitimate wealth and makes merit with it. When he reflects on this, he's filled with pleasure and happiness. This is called the happiness of using wealth. And what is the happiness of debtlessness? It's when a gentleman owes no debt, large or small, to anyone. When he reflects on this, he's filled with pleasure and happiness. This is called the happiness of debtlessness. And what is the happiness of blamelessness? It's when a noble disciple has blameless conduct by way of body, speech, and mind. When he reflects on this, he's filled with pleasure and happiness. This is called the happiness of blamelessness. These 4 kinds of happiness can be earned by a layperson who enjoy sensual pleasures, depending on time and occasion. Knowing the happiness of depthlessness and the extra happiness of possession, a mortal enjoying the happiness of using wealth, then discerns clearly with wisdom. Discerning clearly, a clever person knows both kinds of happiness. The other kind is not worth a 16th part of the happiness of blamelessness. End of sutta. So, the Buddha is saying the happiness of blamelessness is more than 16 times more worthy than other kinds of happiness of layperson. So the Buddha says, like giving inclination that this person cannot have jhanas, that the highest happiness for a person who has not access to jhanas is happiness of blamelessness. And what is blamelessness? When you don't do bad things by body, speech, and mind. So, no divisive speech, no harsh speech, no nonsensical speech, no lying, no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no infidelity, all these things. And when someone is really not doing any of these things, then they are blameless. And being blameless, of course, probably most of us are not blameless fully. It's not easy to really be blameless. But if we are, it's pretty amazing. Like, yeah, you may take from me things, you can insult me, you can say bad things about me, you can steal from me and stuff like that. But if I'm blameless, then this is better than that. And it also creates a very nice, it really creates conditions for extraordinary things. Because let's say, even in some situation like relationship or even breakup or, I don't know, some problematic things in life, there are always some conflicts or bad emotions or people who have problems. But you just don't harm them. So let's say, during some conflict, someone is acting bad, but you're not acting bad. It's not easy for normal people. But if you look at the Dhamma and you are a Dhamma pleaser and virtue pleaser, and you just, okay, I'm just not gonna say the bad thing. As in MN21, the simile of the saw, even if the bandits would cut out your limbs alive, I wouldn't think a bad thought about them. I won't utter bad words, because if someone doesn't do it, he doesn't follow the teaching of the Buddha. So the teaching of the Buddha is, even in most extreme cases, no bad thoughts, no retaliation, no any harm, non ill will. And actually, it feels like it's crazy. Like this is bad. Like, so what? Oh, my friend or someone close to me will say something back to me, and I will just have to forgive it and just be good to them. Why shouldn't I do something like that? But the thing is, and Ajahn Sona speaks about it in the Right Effort talk on fuel. There are many fuels. Anger is a fuel, and loving kindness is a fuel. Both can get the job done, but the anger usually damages many things on the way. So yeah, let's say your friend was mean to you. It doesn't mean you cannot tell them, please don't be mean to me in the future, it hurts me. But it's different to say that kindly and calmly than retaliate and harm them in like just out of revenge or out of uncontrolled, unrestrained emotions, because it takes a lot of restraint and wisdom especially. It's like what I was speaking about meditation. When you want to focus on the breath out of will, it's very hard. But when you understand that you breathe out of compassion and you breathe out of wisdom, like you have insight that this is the way to go, it becomes natural. And when you have wisdom power, you know that this is very beneficial for yourself to not retaliate, to just calmly inform your friend that he make you feel bad or something. But you don't have to retaliate. You don't have to be angry. You can do it out of love, out of compassion. And then it's a win. It's a complete win. And this is how, when we start to see it, it starts to grow. And then it's easier to do it to bigger and bigger situations until point when this is the default mode. When no matter what happens, non-retaliation, non-ill will, just compassion and virtue. And this is so liberating. Because then it becomes a no-brainer at this point, because you don't have to think so much about who did what, oh my goodness, who deserves what. No, you just have to let go of that. And to just keep doing the good thing. Because you are the Dhamma pleaser at this point. You don't care about justice in the world, who did what. That's why Ajahn Brahm says, it's not justice, it's loving kindness. Loving kindness is unconditional. You doesn't need to. It's like Ajahn Sona said in the talk about metta. You all are better looking than average bear. You all are more intelligent than average bear. You are all more virtuous than average bear. But despite that, I love you all. Despite that. Not because of that. Despite that. So despite what people are, we love them because we are Dhamma pleasers. And by looking at the Dhamma, we actually become the best version of ourselves to all beings around us. And I personally learned it really the hard way. Like, I just see the operation of the Dhamma in my life, how I was broken in a way to arrive at this conclusion. Because sometimes life gets so tough that there is no other way, simply. There is no other way to rebuild your life than through Dhamma. And really, it's such a big lesson that just turn away from the human perceptions. Because humans have so limited understanding, it's just unbelievable. Like, every human sees just a fraction of you. Even we see a fraction of ourselves. Like, our lives are so complex and our decisions are so intricate that caring about what people think when people can change perception about us through one sentence from someone without even checking that. Like, I see it myself. Like, say, you watch some video about some guy in politics and someone, like reporter, says one sentence about this person and you already have an opinion. But this life is, this person that he's talking about is such an intricate and vast person with so much baggage and conditions that this is insane to judge a person by one sentence. But trying to please people, this is what we are doing. This is madness. We're trying to please billions of people, potential, because there are so many people on this planet and other beings also, that simply are so fragile. And so I have this experience that humans are like this vase that constantly shatters and rebuilds itself. Like, they are so unstable, constantly most people have problems every day. They constantly shatter and rebuild, shatter and rebuild. So wanting to have taking root into that is insane. It's much better to take root in virtue, which is timeless, which can be dependent on all the time. Like Buddha said, may the Dhamma be your island with no other island. So once we see that, like, all suttas make so much sense at this point. So let's read some suttas. Like, one of the most important suttas from this perspective is SN 7.2, Akossa Sutta. I have heard that on the occasion the Blessed One was staying near Rajagaha in the bamboo forest, the squirrel's sanctuary. Then the Brahman Akosaka, insulter, Bharadvaja, heard that a Brahman of the Bharadvaja clan had gone forth from the home life into homelessness in the presence of the Blessed One. Angered and displeased, he went to the Blessed One and, on arrival, insulted and cursed him with rude, harsh words. When this was said, the Blessed One said to him, "What do you think, Brahman? Do friends and colleagues, relatives and kinsmen come to you as guests?" "Yes, Master Gautama. Sometimes friends and colleagues, relatives and kinsmen come to me as guests." "And what do you think?" Do you serve them with staple and no staple foods and delicacies? Yes, sometimes I serve them with staple and non-staple foods and delicacies. And if they don't accept them, to whom do these foods belong? If they don't accept them, Master Gautama, those foods are all mine. In the same way, Brahman, that which you have insulted me, who is not insulting, that with which you have taunted me, who is not taunting, that with which you have berated me, who is not berating, that I don't accept from you. It's all your, Brahman, it's all yours. Whoever returns insult to one who is insulting, returns taunts to one who is taunting, returns a berating to one who is berating, is said to be eating together, sharing company with that person. But I am neither eating together nor sharing your company, Brahman. It's all yours, it's all yours. The king, together with his court, know this of Master Gautama. Gautama, the contemplative, is an arahant, and yet still Master Gautama gets angry. The Buddha said, whence is there anger for one free from anger? Tamed, living in tune, one released through right knowing, calmed and such. You make things worse when you flare up at someone who is angry. Whoever doesn't flare up at someone who's angry wins a battle hard to win. You live for the good of both, your own, the others. When knowing the others provoked, you mindfully grow calm. When you work the cure of both, your own, the others, those who think you a fool know nothing of Dhamma. So the Buddha says, the one who thinks when you not retaliate and thinks you are a fool, they know nothing about Dhamma. So the conclusion is simple. The Buddha said, when you are getting berated, insulted, attacked, harassed, you mindfully grow calm. And this feels crazy. Wow. Why should I do this? Why should I allow people to hurt myself and not retaliate? Well, it doesn't mean you completely don't defend yourself, but you don't have ill will and you don't attack back. I remember this story by Ajahn Brahm about the prison guard. That the prison guard was so mean to someone. Oh, this is the worst prison guard who never says even hello or whatever. He's just always mean. But Ajahn Brahm said, just bring him the best tea you can, with the best sugar, do everything, be very kind all the time. And after a few weeks, the guard grunted and after a few weeks, he said, thank you. So slowly, you dissolve the ice by being kind. And then just see. If someone saw that from the outside perspective, like this guy who was doing this for this prison guard would be like a saint, like an angel. So even if you're dealing with very difficult person and you are being the good one, you may open the heart even of this person, but at the same time you're inspiring so many more or other people. And I know examples of such people like Bhante Sunyo, who is always kind to everyone, who never does anything unwholesome, never divides people, never talks bad about anyone. He doesn't have any trouble, any conflicts. And this is exactly this happiness of blamelessness. And I don't believe that he never had been challenged to have some problematic problems. Like Ajahn Brahm, for example, also is a good example. He probably had many crazy, difficult situations, but he just does not retaliate. He's always being kind to everyone. So this is what these people are doing. And they are probably very happy people, probably most happy people in the world, who have jhanas and great blisses and stuff like that. And not only that, even without that, even just by being blameless, they have so much happiness and just peaceful. So this is a good lesson because there is temptation of dividing people, of harsh speech, but we regret that later. Sadly, I was doing a lot of that in the past, and now I have a lot of remorse. And this is simply the cause and effect. I was doing unwholesome things, and now I have unwholesome states of mind. I suffer because I have remorse that I wasn't pure my entire life. But the Buddha said even to King Ajatasattu, when he killed his father. He said, just in the next life, don't kill your father. So restrain yourself in the future. This is the way of the Dhamma. The way of the Dhamma is not that we are perfect from the get-go. The way of the Dhamma is when we realize our mistake, is to restrain ourselves in the future. And this is the purifying experience when we restrain ourselves for the future. So whatever we did wrong in the past, now we come into understanding that we should act differently. Let's say we were saying harsh words. Now we want to restrain. No more harsh words. We were, let's say, dividing people in the past. No more dividing people. Let's say we were lying in the past. No more lying. And if we do, we apologize, we confess, we acknowledge, forgive, learn, as Ajahn Brahm says. So, and this is how we make progress on this path. So, this is very important. Just forgive ourselves, forgive others, and just keep going. This is what Ajahn Brahm was also saying, that this is path of forgiveness. Like, this is how the world moves forward. No matter the degree of problem, always forgive. This is the Ajahn Brahm said. How many times we should forgive? Always one more time. This is words of Ajahn Brahm. There's also similar words in the Bible where there was like, someone asked, how many times I should forgive? 7 times? And Jesus said, no, 77. Which of course meant indefinite number, the same thing as Ajahn Brahm, always one more time. So, and this sutta is pretty clear on that. He said, the one who retaliates anger with anger knows nothing of Dhamma. You cannot say that in a more like intense words. Now, let's look at MN 21, which is the simile of the saw. I don't know what's going on with my internet. Okay. And at the end of this sutta, there are such words. Even if low-down bandits were to sever you limb from limb with a 2-handed saw, anyone who had a malevolent thought on that account would not be following my teachings. If that happens, or would not be no following Dhamma. Let me give it Pali. No. No, Sasanakaro, so teachings. Would not be following my instructions. If that happens, you should train like this. Our minds will not degenerate. We will blurt out no bad words. We will remain full of sympathy with a heart of love and no secret hate. We will meditate spreading a heart of love to that individual. And with them as basis, we will meditate spreading a heart full of love to everyone in the world. Abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. That's how you should train. If you frequently reflect on this advice, on the simile of the saw, do you see any criticism, large or small, that you could not endure? No, sir. So, mendicants, you should frequently reflect on this advice, on the simile of the saw. This will be for your lasting welfare and happiness. That's what the Buddha said. Satisfied, the mendicants approve what the Buddha said. So, he said, someone is cutting off your limbs alive, and he said, with him as a basis, you give him loving kindness, and with him as a basis, you will do what? Loving kindness to all beings. And what I was saying in meditation in this talk, when you are in deep meditation or dying, what do? May all beings be happy, may all beings be free of suffering, because this is the mirror of your mind. And he comes back with this to this world and does that. This is the extreme case, even when someone does you this terrible harm. Because then, if you die, they kill you brutally, okay, but you dissolve and goodbye samsara. So this is the way. And this is how we transform this world. So this is the Dhamma. How can anyone has any doubt about this anymore? Like, at least from the sutta perspective. So let's go further. Let's go to Dhammapada, Acharya Buddharakita translation. I like this one most. Mind precedes all mental states. Mind is their chief. They are all mind-wrought. If with an impure mind a person speaks or acts, suffering follows him like the wheel that follows the foot of the ox. Right? As I said, bad intention, suffering. Mind precedes all mental states. Mind is their chief. They are all mind-wrought. If with a pure mind a person speaks or acts, happiness follows him like his never-departing shadow. So the Buddha doesn't say that if people like you, if people approve you, if people gives you attention, if you are the best, if you are ruler of the world. No, if you act with pure intention, happiness will follow. But look at Dhamma, not at the world, because it sometimes takes time. And there is this words, he abused me, he struck me, he overpowered me, he robbed me. Those who harbor such thoughts do not seal their hatred. Their hatred. He abused me, he struck me, he overpowered me, he robbed me. Those who do not harbor such thoughts still their hatred. Hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. This is a law eternal. There are those who do not realize that one day we all must die. But those who do realize this settle their quarrels. Just as a storm throws down a weak tree, so does Mara overpower the man who lives for the pursuit of pleasures, who is uncontrolled in his senses, immoderate in eating, indolent and dissipated. Just as a storm cannot prevail against a rocky mountain, so Mara can never overpower the man who lives meditating on the impurities, who is controlled in his senses, moderate in eating, and filled with faith and earnest effort. So, we see, hatred is never appeased by hatred. Only by love, hatred is appeased. So, again, exactly all these examples I was giving, Ajahn Brahm, the guard and the prisoner, or whatever, some conflict in life, the one who doesn't retaliate, who gives back with love, this is how hate is appeased. The Buddha said, hate is never with hate appeased. And the deeper we go into this conflict of hate, the worse it gets. So the quicker we go, like when we dissolve hate with love at the very spark, it's so much easier. And whole samsara is this story pretty much. So we want to end this story of hatred and conflict, so just keep loving kindness. It feels sometimes insane to love people who are so difficult for us, but this is the way. We also were very difficult for many people, so. And just as the storm, right? Because, and see, even the Buddha said, there are those who do not realize that one day we must all die, but those who do realize this settle their quarrels. And as what I was saying during meditation, imagine you're dying or you are in deep meditation, and then you feel this compassion. Because from the death perspective, everything changes. And this is how we must do it. We must go back to this deeper spiritual perspective in order to settle our quarrels. Because if we forget about death and if we forget about deep meditation, about this dissolution, about that, this is not our home actually. Our home is either in the present moment, in our heart, or in these deeper states. Then we settle our quarrels, because we know that all these arguments in this world are pointless in a way. So when we remember about death, about these deeper things, it's so easy to settle our quarrels. And this is how we must do it. If we have some quarrels with the world, we have to go back to deep meditation, to death contemplation, to loving kindness, compassion meditation, to serenity meditation. And this is how we transform. And this is the path. As the Buddha said, those who do not retaliate with anger towards anger win a battle hard to win. And this is how we do it. Right? And as I said, like, now just at the end, I just want to read Metta Sutta and Mangala Sutta. Just read these suttas from the perspective of, from the perspective of all these things that I was saying, from this virtue and compassion as the basis of Dhamma. And now let's read some translations. Maybe Amaravati Sangha, the very... This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise one would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety may all beings be at ease, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Yeah, so this is a classic, and as you can see, it's pretty much all beings, non-ill will, care for everyone, always having this recollection no matter the position of the body. So this is like, as I said, when you see this, you see all suttas are about this in a one way or another. And maybe now, I don't know which translation, but let's read the Mangala Sutta, maybe Bhante Sujato. So I have heard. At one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. Then late at night, a glorious deity, lighting up the entire Jeta's Grove, went up to the Buddha, bowed and stood to one side. Standing to one side, that deity addressed the Buddha in verse. Many gods and humans have thought about blessings, desiring well-being, declare the highest blessing. And so here you can see how the Buddha is presenting the path pretty much as Socrates said that eudaimonia is based on virtues. And you can see that Mangala Sutta is just slowly developing more and more virtues. It's pretty much expressing in a poetic way that the path is about development of virtues. And the ultimate virtue is non-harm and like spiritual love to all living beings. And you will see it's all connected to that. Not to fraternize with fools, but to fraternize with the wise. And honoring those worthy of honor, this is the highest blessing. Why? Well, because we are what we are associating with. Just like you put an orange near rotten orange, the orange will also rot. So if you want to be full of love and compassion, we need to surround ourselves with these fresh oranges, so we are like that. So we don't lose this goodness in ourselves. So we need to associate with goodness to grow the goodness in us and honor those worthy of honor. And who is worthy of honor? Of course, the real good people. Real good people are worthy of honor. And when you honor what is worthy of honor, you become that quality. And going from that, living in a suitable region, having made merit in the past, being rightly resolved in oneself, This is the highest blessing. Education and a craft, discipline and training, and well-spoken speech, this is the highest blessing. Caring for mother and father, kindness to children and partners, and unstressful work, this is the highest blessing. Giving and righteous conduct, kindness to relatives, blameless deeds, this is the highest blessing. Desisting and abstaining from evil, avoiding drinking liquor, diligence in good qualities, this is the highest blessing. Respect and humility, contentment and gratitude, and timely listening to the teaching, this is the highest blessing. Patience, being easy to admonish, the sight of ascetics, and timely discussion of the teaching, this is the highest blessing. Fervor and chastity, seeing the noble truths, and realization of extinguishment, this is the highest blessing. Though touched by worldly things, their mind does not tremble. Sorrowless, stainless, secure, this is the highest blessing. Having completed these things, undefeated everywhere they go in safety, this is the highest blessing. Right? Because they took root in the Dhamma, that's why they are undefeated. That's why they are secure. Because they develop the virtues, they develop Nibbana, and that's why they are safe. This is the way. And it all starts, this sutta is great because it's gradual. It shows how from very worldly things like caring for your parents, for your partner, like being good to your relatives and other human beings, you slowly develop deeper and deeper virtue. Because even as Viveka was saying to me, like, the ultimate virtue is also letting go of attachments and craving. Because if you really want to be blameless, like ultimately blameless, you must have no craving. Because craving attaches to samsara, so letting go of craving also is part of deeper virtue, like higher virtue. So, virtue can be the entire path. And, yeah, one more thing I wanted to add. But I have to remember. Ajahn Sona, the scroll. The guy need to go for the scroll and bring it to me. Anyway, I don't remember, but it doesn't matter. So just to summarize this talk, I hope it has shown you what is the essence of the Dhamma, and that once you see it, it's hard to unsee it, and that it's very liberating in its nature because we can just know what to do in every situation. Yeah, just be kind, be forgiving, be good, really good, and it has so many ways it can express itself, and to just follow the heart because the heart knows what is good. And just really feel good about ourselves when we are doing this. Like the Buddha said that, just reflect. When you're doing good, do good. When you're doing bad, just restrain in the future and improve. So there is this right effort going on that it's not like, on the one hand, we should accept ourselves, but on the other hand, just really keep improving ourselves. This is what the path is about. And this is just such a nice way of living because you have this root, you have this connection with the divine through meditation and through just understanding and feeling it. And then, I just do it for the divine. I just do it for the Dhamma. And slowly, it just helps at the beginning because if we look at through the worldly eyes, it's easy to fall into these justice things and want to fight. But if we look at the Dhamma itself, then we just do it for the Dhamma. We just do it for the Dhamma. We're becoming Dhamma pleasers. And in this way, we slowly start to understand that it's actually a better way to interact with everyone. And it's just like leaving the prison in a way. So, and this is the path to heaven. And I don't believe that people will go to heaven if they don't learn this, no matter. Well, maybe they will, but the chances are much more if or to realize, either go to heaven or to realize Nibbana, and to be in a heaven in this world, like right now, when we follow this. So this is like the lesson of the Dhamma. I believe if this lesson is knocking at you, then that's great. And this lesson comes usually from two sides. Like one is the loving kindness side, and the other is suffering side. Because both love and suffering teaches us. So, and usually in connection, when we understand what is true love and when we understand what is suffering and what is hatred, then we slowly learn that, yeah, we should really let go of hatred. And just be careful, because there is so much misinformation, as Ajahn Sona says, in the world, that people will want to pull you back and will call you crazy. And I just reminded what I wanted to say, that when monks receive food, they say Kanti, I don't remember exact Pali, but Kanti is the great parami. So Kanti is patience or endurance is the greatest virtue. And why is it? Why patient endurance is the greatest virtue? It's because it takes patience for this path to work, in a way. Of course, it's immediate in a way, but in the long run, yeah, it's difficult. And because this is the way of the world, that injustice in this world is present even for very good people. That especially, like, if we have bumps on the path, injustice is part of the world. And injustice calls for anger. And this is the trap. Right? Even when on my last video, when I was speaking to people that, yeah, we should just make peace and be kind and compassionate and don't go into hatred towards anyone among this political turmoil, that there was a comment that this is a delusion, that this is wrong thinking. But this is actually, this person who commented was deluded. Like, they are actually trapped in this injustice, so I have to fight, I have to go into anger. And this is also a sutta, I won't read it now, too much suttas I read, but when someone asks the Buddha, does a warrior who fights in the battle, like let's say he protects his land, does he go to heaven of the warrior gods? And Buddha said, don't ask me about this. And he asked second time, don't ask me about this. For the third time, okay, you ask 3 times, I tell you, they go to hell. It might seem strange. Why would someone who's protecting his country is going to hell? But this is complete misunderstanding, because this is not the country we should be protecting. We should be protecting heaven in our heart. And this is the right view, which is so difficult and so challenging to people in the world. But once you do it, you are on the path. And that's why so little people are on the path. Most people are completely deluded. They think worldly. But we have to think like otherworldly, like in a higher principles of nature. So, yeah, this is very important. That's why, for example, religions that teach that, oh, this is a godly war. Like, for me, they are completely deluded. A war cannot be godly, because God is peace and love. So, if someone says that war is godly, this is pretty much the voice of the devil in my way, in my understanding. Like, this is simple as that. They are completely deluded. So, and that's why that's why patience is such a high virtue, because yeah, it takes patience to see the world burn, to just people do all these unjust things. But yeah, at the death process, the truth will be revealed. The mirror will be put in front of all these people. And those who were good till the end will go to heaven or be liberated. And those who were doing a mess here will go to lower realms or suffer in future human life. So yeah, this is very important. And that's why Kanti is so important, because pretty much everything will be revealed at death. Right? This is also in the Bible. Everything will be revealed. Every lie, every transgression, every virtue. Because now this is the world of illusion. We live in a world of lies. And so we need to stick to the truth, because the truth will be revealed and the karma will come back. And that's why that's why Kanti is the greatest virtue. Because the monks may see like losers from the outside world perspective. Like Ajahn Brahm said it, that enlightened ones are the greatest losers. But actually, Kanti, they will be the victors in the end. So, and this applies to our lives in a smaller way as well. So just don't follow the conflicts, don't follow hatred, don't follow all these divisive things. sometimes we will lose things because of that, because people who use these techniques, like narcissists, Machiavellis, psychopaths, they will use us in a way, but just patience. Don't go into their ways. Don't become like them. There is this saying, when you fight back, you become like them. So this is patience and loving kindness, compassion. Always go back to this death contemplation. I wish everyone well, and always give back love. And actually, it's not so bad as I frame it now. I frame it in an extreme case, but actually, most people will see this goodness, and their heart will open, and their heart will heal, because this approach is the most healing approach to everyone. This is what everyone wants. This is what everyone seeks. This true love. They seek this oasis of love. So we can become this oasis for other people. And we will become this. If we follow the Dhamma, if we become Dhamma pleasers, then this is what we will become for people. Just don't make the Dhamma as something harsh, as something, that hurts others, because this is illusion of Dhamma. This is another spiritual trap. When someone says he's so in the Dhamma, oh, they are so saintful, no matter what clothes they are wearing, if they're wearing robe or not. But if someone is hurting others, the Buddha says, someone who hurts others is not true ascetic. So it doesn't matter what clothes we have. If Dhamma has to be good, like also in Christian perspective, God has to be good. So all people who are hurting in the name of God are not God followers. That's why I like to say that God sometimes is in the most dirty, unexpected places. Because it has to be good, it has to be nourishing, it has to be loving, it has to be compassionate. And these virtues are the Dhamma. And if we fit on that, if we get nourished by that, and we follow that and we give that, this is the world we create, this is the destiny we create for ourselves, and this is what we bring to the world. So, just be careful about this, be patient. We need to be patient because, Kanti is important. And to follow this path, what we're gonna lose through following this path, let it go. We have to lose this. We are not losing, we're actually winning. We are unburdening. And whatever remains is for us at this time. And just follow this path, and this is the only way. As the Buddha said, this is the only island, this is the only refuge, with no other refuge. The only sanctuary is the Dhamma. And what is the Dhamma, I think I've already explained. So thank you for attention. It was quite a lengthy talk, but I just felt like it should be like that. So thanks.